Welcome back to the channel where we aim to take science and experience in the weight room and apply that to help you become stronger. In today's episode, I want to go over how can you become a sponsored athlete. So we're going to walk through kind of the process in hoping to become sponsored, maybe where you are along your journey and how that can change your thought process, and what you want to look for as an athlete in order to hopefully reach this. So I think becoming sponsored tends to be one of these goals as athletes progress through their journey. We, of course, do this because we love it, especially if it's powerlifting or strongman or bodybuilding. Very few athletes actually end up being paid for what we do, right? So take that into consideration. You're doing this for enjoyment. Now, it can certainly become a goal. Hey, how can I acquire sponsors to support this hobby or this competitive endeavor that I have? And sometimes people fail to realize a sponsorship is a relationship, right? It's not just a company that's helping you constantly and you're reaping the benefits. It is a two-way street. So you have to think of it as a relationship and treat it like any relationship that you would have in life. Now, as you approach a situation, if you're going to ask for a sponsorship or talk to somebody about potentially sponsoring you, you have to keep this in mind, right? They are looking for something in return as well, just like you are asking for their backing. So the way I have always thought about it is, am I contributing enough to this relationship to make it worth it for them? Right? And if you are approaching a company to talk to them about sponsorship, you need to speak to them that way, right? What can you do for them and not the other way around? Don't ask for things. Now, I think one of the most important things that a company may look for is going to be time and consistency at whatever sport you do, right? So don't be 1 year into the sport and having done a couple competitions and expect for a company to speak to you seriously about a sponsorship. And if they do, that's amazing. But understand a company is investing in you whenever they partner with you for a sponsorship. So if you have this backlog of consistency that can be seen, that's going to really help you on your resume, right? That kind of goes with number two. Build a resume, right? Write it out like a business. If you are this serious to want to commit to a relationship with a company, show them what have you done, what are you planning to do, what are your ambitions, and be professional about it. And that will show you or show them that you're serious about it. So a resume can be very helpful. And to kind of go with that, you need to compete. That's going to help your cause, right? So show me some consistency, build a resume, and with that resume, you're going to want to compete and be visible to a large audience. So that's something to keep in mind. Maybe you should save your moments to ask and reach out to companies until you have built these three things, if not more. That way you can kind of shoot your shot, so to speak, and have something for them to look at. So a big thing here is just patience. Because a lot of people want here and now rewards, but understand you're in it for the long game. So build these out before you speak to these companies. Now, along with building your own resume, you want to vet these companies so that you match them. It's just like a relationship that you would have with a person. You want a person that you can be compatible with and that represents your values well. So, a great example for me personally, right? I work with SBD. You can see their banner right there. I've been with them for many years. Greatest powerlifting company in the world, in my opinion. Now, they share some of those same values in progressing the sport that I do, right? They're doing so many great things, sponsoring big events. They're creating the Sheffield competition and highlighting these great lifters. They sponsor World's Strongest Man to kind of get the strength sports out there. And I understand that they really invest a ton of time to reach those goals. Now, my ambition is on a smaller scale, right? But at the same time, I can share those goals with them. I want powerlifting to become bigger. I want people to get into the sport and be able to enjoy that sport as much as I have in my life. So to kind of like compare that, I've had other companies who I've talked to in the past that maybe didn't have as good of customer service. I know Pete Spence and the entire team at SBD, they are very good about taking care of their customers. And there are other companies that maybe don't do that as well, right? Before I worked with SBD, there were companies that took weeks and weeks and weeks to get me their product so that I could use it. They would not respond to emails, and I would have other issues. That communication is a huge deal because as a customer, if you cannot communicate with the company, then what do you think their communication is going to be like whenever you work with them, right? It is a commitment to choose one of these companies. So you want to have a company on your side that supports the same values you do. That way, when people see you represent the company, you can do it with pride, right? And you can comfortably recommend the products to other people. So, first and foremost is values and relationships with customers. If these do not align, then you might want to move on, right? They're not only accepting to sponsor you, but you're accepting to represent them to the best of your ability. Another thing here is, do you use their products already? So sticking with my example, before I worked with SBD, I had an SBD belt. I used their knee sleeves. I used their wrist wraps. And I knew that if I took the leap of working with them and having to use their products, that I would be happy, right? I could be not sponsored by them tomorrow and no longer have a relationship, and I would still use their equipment because I think it's the best in powerlifting, right? So you need to find a situation, and I'm not saying SBD's the company you have to go for, right? Find your personal preferences, but if you are going to be forced to use the product of the company you're representing, you should not be sacrificing on product choices. Finally, here, whenever you're thinking about how can I become a sponsored athlete, one, patience pays off. Okay, so if you take your time and slowly build a following on social media, that's a huge thing, right? The more followers you have, the more eyes you will have on you, and these companies are willing to partner for those eyes. That's basically what they're looking for. And then also progress gets attention. So if you get to a point where you are very strong and you're becoming nationally competitive or internationally competitive, that's going to increase your odds. So for me, I like an approach of, keep the blinders on, do what you do, and then get to a point where you can be valuable for companies. And that will pay off in the long run. So patience, gain that viewership, and let your progress speak for itself. And then you can go out and give that resume to companies, speak to them, find a good company that you truly believe in, and build those relationships. So that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and check out my other videos. And until next time, happy lifting.